Singleness doesn't really get talked about a lot on this channel, so I'm so glad that you all suggested that we talk about it. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome to my channel. My name is Stephanie. It's Anya, Steph Anya for short, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. Today, I'll be talking about the mental health challenges that can come with singleness and celibacy while looking for love. We're talking about trauma sometimes, anxiety, fears, and sometimes we're talking about making peace with the fact that being single is actually really working well for you right now. What's on your mind? First, thanks to Birch Living for sponsoring a portion of today's video. One of the biggest things that I talk with my clients about is the importance of getting good sleep. I used to be a person who did not want to invest in a good mattress because I felt like they cost too much and I'll sleep anyway. And I realized that I was having a lot of back pains, difficulty falling asleep, and I even dealt with unexplainable rashes and things like that I just could not understand the source of. Birch makes mattresses that are crafted responsibly. They use organic materials like wool, cotton, and even 100% natural latex. Something that I really appreciate is that their mattresses are free of polyurethane foams, which can be detrimental to your health because they release harmful off-gassing. They also don't use any fiberglass in their materials, which can also be very bad for your health. So it was important for me to get a Birch mattress because of the natural and organic materials. I'm also one of those people who gets very hot when I sleep, so I appreciate that Birch's mattresses remain cool and help to regulate my body temperature. Now, I personally ordered the Birch Natural Luxe mattress because it's just like a step above. What I love most is the comfort of the mattress, comfort for my body, and also the peace of mind, knowing that I'm not inhaling dangerous gases and I'm getting a more comfortable sleep. The reason I'm very excited to share Birch with you all is because you get a 100-night sleep trial and a 25-year guarantee. So if anything happens, Birch has you covered. And one of the best parts is that Birch can deliver your mattress right to your front door, and it's free of charge in the US. They can even send someone to help set up your mattress for you if you want a professional installation. And you get a couple of freebies. So when you order a Birch mattress, you get 2 free Eco Rest pillows. They have an extended Labor Day sale, so if you're looking to upgrade your mattress now that we're moving into cozy season, please check out the link in the description box or the QR code on the screen. So thanks again to Birch Living. Now let's get back to the video. So I put up a community tab to ask you all what videos you want me to make, and I said whichever comments get the most likes, I will make videos around. This comment had the second most likes. Shout out to Cinnamon Sugar. I love your name and how you spell it. The mental roadblocks and challenges that occur when someone who has been single and celibate for years desires companionship, but have become too used to the feeling of safety that being single provides, like the struggles of opening up, being vulnerable, becoming comfortable with touch again, etc. So I do have many clients who are in a journey like that, my individual clients who have been single for a long time and are looking to start dating, but we often encounter issues that usually involve past traumas and wounds that are preventing them from moving forward in a successful relationship. So first, let's start with how it feels. So people go into singleness, sometimes voluntarily, sometimes involuntarily, and celibacy the same way, sometimes voluntarily, sometimes involuntarily. But during that time, what ends up happening is you start developing a sense of normalcy within that period of your life. There's a predictability that comes with it. Maybe you live on your own, maybe you live with roommates, maybe you live with your parents, but there's a level of predictability that provides a sense of comfort. And it's very scary to disrupt that. You might have a place that you already love living, you already love working. You know, maybe you've got your nighttime routine down packed, you know what time you like to go to bed, what time you like to wake up in the morning. These are comforts and predictabilities that make it so that you don't have to deal with as much anxiety as you would day to day, possibly having to negotiate with another person about what your day is going to look like. So what I see from a lot of my clients at this point in life, when they start thinking to themselves, I think I'm ready to really pursue a relationship, is a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of concern about all of the transitions and changes that can come with that. And I see a few different responses to that. Of course, you have the people who could naturally make that adjustment. Maybe being in a relationship is something they've always wanted. Maybe it's something they've already had a lot of practice in. Sometimes people go go on a celibacy journey after they've already been in a long-term relationship and they needed that time just to heal from that last relationship. It's kind of like getting back on a bike. They understand what it's like to show a person that you're interested. They know what it looks like to establish standards, and they know their deal breakers, maybe even more so now after their past failed relationship. But for some people, the way they deal with that anxiety is by self-sabotaging. And this is something we really have to talk about when it comes to the discomfort that comes with going from a period of comfort with singleness and celibacy even. And you don't have to be celibate for this video to apply to you, but the commenter did ask specifically about celibacy, and that'll be important when we talk about touch and things a little bit later on in the video. But you have to keep in mind that when you're going from this period of transition, you will have natural blockers that will come up, natural barriers that you will likely unknowingly put up to keep yourself safe and protected from the harm that you could possibly experience by getting in another relationship. For some of you, maybe your first relationship ever. And so what happens is we might nitpick on things that are very adjustable. I've had clients who had a great connection with someone, really enjoyed spending time with them. They knew that person liked them, that person was reliable, but they fixated on the type of shoes that that person wore. So in that situation, they were like, I'm just so disgusted. Why would a person wear those kinds of shoes? It's frustrating when you hear that, to think, oh, they're just a bad person, that they would judge a person based on their shoes. But what they're doing is subconsciously protecting themselves from moving forward with the person who has no other flaws than what they feel about their shoes. So there's two ways to address that. A, you can just communicate that to them. I mean, they might not really care about those shoes, or you could try to make peace with it yourself. That's one of the more trivial examples that I've seen with self-sabotage, but sometimes it could be panicking and freaking out because a person didn't respond to you when you sent them a message at 11 p.m. and you're up waiting, you can't fall asleep because they didn't respond. They get back to you in the morning, and by that point, you're already so upset that it's been so many hours that they didn't respond to you. And so I see so much back and forth like that with self-sabotage, and it makes a lot of sense because my clients don't want to be hurt. They don't want to be in a position where somebody has the power to make them feel as bad as they felt in the past. However, they're also getting in their own way of happiness because they are fixating on small things or projecting past traumas onto what's happening in this moment. It would be completely irresponsible of us not to utilize our past experiences to inform how we assess situations today. You have seen what happens when you touch a hot stove, so you avoid things that seem heated. That is important for survival. That is a survival mechanism. We apply the same thing to relationships where we say, oh, wait, I had an ex in the past that was controlling, and this person told me that this dress doesn't fit me well. So maybe they're trying to be controlling about what I wear. Maybe they are, or maybe they're trying to be honest and let you know that this outfit might not look the way that you thought it looked. So it's very important for us to find the balance between paying attention to red flags and self-sabotage. It can be a very fine line, and I'm working with my clients on that every day. Let's talk about this. Is this really a deal breaker for you? Or are you trying to protect the peace that you have cultivated on your own for this time period that you've been by yourself? The other thing that I encourage my clients to think about is, do you really want to be in a relationship right now? Sometimes we are so enamored with what everyone else is doing. Maybe you see all of your friends have gotten into relationships and you're one of the only ones who's still single. Maybe you look online and you see people from high school starting to get married, have babies. Maybe you have a younger sibling who's getting married before you, and these things make you feel like you need to get serious about dating. Those are not reasons to start dating. And that is one of the things that my clients struggle the most with, is basing their need to be in a relationship on what's happening with people around them. Your reasons for starting a new relationship should be that you are ready for a change in your life. You don't want to continue doing things on your own, and you're excited about building a future with someone. It should be that you feel healed enough to know that you're able to make maintain your own happiness and know that you could provide another person with happy moments in their life while not being dependent on them to create your happiness. There are so many things that you want to make sure that you are thinking about before you move forward with pursuing a relationship, especially after a long period of singleness, because it's very tempting to rush things or move forward with the person because you just want to be with someone versus this is the person for you and this is the time in your life for you to be with someone. Now let's talk specifically about celibacy. People go on celibacy journeys for so many different reasons. Sometimes they're spiritual or religious reasons. Sometimes it's because people have noticed a disproportionate amount of stress that they encounter when they do experience a person sexually and it doesn't go anywhere. People have so many different reasons for pursuing a celibacy journey. And so that reason is very important to consider as well, because sometimes what happens is people get into relationships and they're really afraid of having sex because spiritually, mentally, they're really not ready to have sex, but it feels like that is what is the next logical step in this relationship. And so instead of moving forward with that, they might sabotage the relationship instead of communicating that, or they may go forward with having sex and start developing a sense of resentment toward their partner and the relationship for compromising their own values. And so this is something that you also have to be very, very cognizant of and remember your why when you are pursuing a journey of celibacy. Keeping in mind the reason for that journey. Is it just until you're in a relationship with someone that you trust, someone that feels safe, someone that you feel can respect your body? If so, it makes sense to move forward with having sex with the person once you feel that sense of safety, but not a moment before. But if this journey was spiritual for you, if you felt like you wanted to be celibate so that you could feel very good about where you are in your relationship with God, I make no judgment about how people handle sex before they get married. That is just not something that I have strong opinions on. But if you have strong opinions on it, what can end up happening is you start feeling this sense of shame and guilt that can actually really negatively impact your relationship and your sense of self. So when we talk about celibacy and getting comfortable with touch and things like that, if you do still feel a level of discomfort with touch, that might be an indication that you are not ready to move forward with that level of physical intimacy with your partner. And if you are with the right person, you should be able to communicate that. You should be able to say to them, I would love for us to be in a place where we can be physically intimate, but my body is telling me that emotionally I am not there. That is a very important thing to be able to evaluate how respectful your new partner is of your values. You should be able to communicate that. You shouldn't feel that there is a pressure because you've been with the person for 3 weeks, 3 months, a year. You shouldn't feel that there is a pressure to be with them in a way that does not feel okay with your body. By the time that you guys start touching, there should be a gradual buildup where you're noticing your level of comfort. If you're really struggling with this, I would encourage you to even start scaling it, start rating it. And this is something that I have done with clients. They'll say, I went out with so-and-so again, and this time we held hands and I didn't feel uncomfortable with that. I'll say, okay, well, let's rate the level of discomfort, right? So we can track it. Or they'll say they kissed me and I did feel a little weird about it. We're gonna rank that. So we're gonna measure it over time, evaluate how comfortable you are. If we're not at a 10 for a level of comfort when it comes to a kiss, we're probably not ready to move beyond that kiss. So you have to be patient with yourself and you have to ask your partner to be patient with you and really assess if they are. Maybe a person might say that's no problem, but the things that they're doing, the places they're touching you, don't really communicate a respect. Definitely pay more attention to their actions than their words in a situation like that, because the right person you eventually will feel very comfortable with. If you're dealing with traumas from the past that make you not comfortable with physical touch, you absolutely do need to be in individual therapy so you can be working through your trauma responses and understanding the reason that you're feeling that way and understand the types of touches that might not be safe, so you can start restructuring your brain to associate certain touches with something positive instead instead of with something negative, that is not really something your partner can help you through. That's work that probably needs to be done on your own. Ultimately, in order to have a successful relationship, even if it's not going to be long-term, even if this is just a success because you were finally able to be with someone where you both have committed to spending time with each other exclusively, even if that doesn't end in marriage, that can still be considered a successful relationship if you've seen personal growth throughout that time. You like the way you all have been able to communicate, the way you've been able to monitor yourself for comfort with this person, the way that you've been able to open up and be vulnerable and intimate. I always encourage my clients, if you're with a person who is also interested in intimacy, emotional intimacy, then there should be a lot of conversations that you all are having in terms of learning about each other's past, talking about your hopes for the future. It shouldn't be taboo in your relationship to talk about the future. And I hear about this from so many of my clients where I say, well, you guys have been together for 6 months. Have you talked about what your hopes are or plans are for this relationship? And a client who just told me 6 months ago, before they were in this relationship, that their next person they were dating, they're going to be dating with intention, they're dating to get married, will tell me, oh, well, we're just taking it slow. We're not talking about that right now. And honestly, I don't even want to put pressure on that right now. For me, that is a level of emotional suppression, repression, delusion, if you will, because you're essentially telling yourself that something that has mattered to you for a long time no longer matters because you're in this relationship. It should be the opposite. If you're with the right person, you should feel more comfortable thinking about your future because you can put a face to the future you've been imagining. So if you find yourself stepping back from thinking about the future, that is also an indication that this may not be the right relationship, or this may not be the right person, or this may not be the right time for you to be in a relationship, because the prospect of actually living out the dreams and hopes that you were communicating before is scaring you and you don't want to talk about it anymore, or that person has made you feel uncomfortable talking about that without making you feel like you're putting pressure on them. And of course, a lot of this is age sensitive, right? So if you're 18, 19, 20, 21, it's okay to say you're trying to take some time. Any age, it's okay. But for a lot of my clients, because they are at a certain age and they may want certain things in their lives like kids, and they want to be this age when they have kids so they can play with them, after a certain point, age does become important for a lot of people. So if you're in your 30s, for example, and you want to have children and you feel this pressure, you don't want to be with someone who makes you feel uncomfortable or guilty for asking about the future. That is not something that you should feel ashamed of wanting to know their thoughts on. And this is the big question I ask a lot of my clients after they've been in a relationship for a period of time, following a period of singleness. Do you think you were happier when you were single? Sometimes we lose sight of that. Sometimes you're in a relationship, and because you've wanted to be in a relationship for so long, you ignore the fact that when you were single, even though you wanted companionship, you were actually happier. If you feel that way, there's a good chance this is not the right relationship for you, and that it might be time to start over on your singleness journey. Don't look at that as a failure. It's a success to be able to evaluate and assess what's happening in your life and not waste any more time on a situation that's not really going to get you closer to your overall hopes of being content and satisfied with your life. So those are my thoughts on the mental health challenges that can come with singleness and celibacy. We're talking about trauma sometimes, we're talking about anxiety, we're talking about fears of pursuing something new and different. And sometimes we're talking about making peace with the fact that being single is actually really working well for you right now. And you have to release the pressures of comparison that might prompt you to pursue something before you're ready or before you really need to. Let me know if there's anything else that you would like me to talk about with this topic. I again appreciate you all for giving me such amazing suggestions for videos to do. And I'm happy to go into further detail if there's anything else that you guys would like me to discuss more specifically. So thanks again to Birch Living. Please check out the link in the description box or the QR code on the screen. Please like this video, share it with anyone that you think may find it helpful, and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you for watching this video all the way until the end. You didn't have to do that, and the fact that you did helps me out so much. So thank you, thank you, thank you.